cruising down the street in my 6. Well, nope. Nope. All righty. I don't know why that song came in my head this morning. Who knows? Okay, I believe my tablet is saying yes, it is 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let's get this neural party started. I am going to count you in a descending manner of 3, 2, 1, and then you will inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you are experiencing level 4 right now on YouTube, the open part of it. There are 5 levels to taking your untrained, dysregulated brain from survival and comfort to thrival and excellence at level 5. And here's how it gets done. Level 1, 7-day free trial on Instagram. Turnaround Doctor is my username. You conduct 7 consecutive days of 60-second neural reps. Upon successful completion, you will receive an invite to level up to level 2, where you will remain on Instagram for another 30 consecutive days, and you will do 30 60-second neural reps one day at a time. Upon successful completion of 30 consecutive days of 60-second neural reps, you will receive an invite to level up to level 3, which is here on YouTube, where you will continue to conduct neural reps at an expanded level for 90 consecutive days. Upon successful completion of 90 consecutive days of level 3 neural reps, you will receive your next invite to level up, level 4 here on Instagram, where you will then inculcate the 74 principles of real leadership and do expanded neural reps that also combine brain functions. After 180 consecutive days at level 4, which is a total of 307 consecutive days, you will then receive your final invite to level 5. And at level 5, you have 2 possibilities: RL 365, RL Advanced, RL Beyond, or Real Leader Resources, should you decide that there is a project that you would like to pursue. That is the option for you. Good morning, Jared. I don't know why I want to keep calling you Gerald. Levels 1 through 5 is how you take your brain from untrained, low emotional baseline to highly trained, high functioning, and a neutral emotional baseline. Good morning, Daisy. All right, today for the entire week, and I mentioned this last week, we are going to take a brain region, a brain area, and focus on it for the entire week to ensure that you actually understand it completely. This week's topic is the orbitofrontal cortex. So let me show you where it is located in your amazing brain. Right there, ladies and gentlemen. It's right there up in front of your eye sockets. So this is the orbitofrontal cortex, and I already have today and 3 other lessons ready to go, well, planned and ready to be executed so that you can understand the orbitofrontal cortex. That is where it is, and that is what it looks like. And look at the real leader brain looking like Dapper Dan in the suit. Good morning, gentlemen. I am the amazing Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout. My live is sponsored by the Elements H2O, and when I say drink water, you will respond with drink water in the chat, and you will drink water too, because this is a neurological workout. Let's go ahead and get our first drink water in for the day. Drink water! Now, for those of you visiting for the first time, Gerald is a form of Jared, meaning spear and brave. Yes, you remember that from looking up your name. Yes, sir. Good morning, Monique. When you respond to the questions that I ask you today, you will first respond with the ellipse, which is 3 periods, ... a thinking emoji, a brain emoji, a buffering, a That is training the neural pathway. It is actually strengthening your inhibition control and the executive function of your brain, but it's also giving you a neural pathway to think before you speak. So should you decide to stay throughout this live, when a question is asked, ... thinking emoji, and then respond. If you respond first, I'm going to tell you to go back, think, and then respond to the question. The orbitofrontal cortex. Here is what we will be discussing. It's a top level overview with some everyday examples for dysregulated and regulated brains. Then you will have your Neuro Rep. We will do the brain bit, and then we'll go on our merry little way. All right. So what does the orbitofrontal cortex sits right above the eyes? It's the part of the front of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. And orbital refers to eye sockets or orbits. And it lives on the underside of the frontal lobe. So right here, if you touched your forehead just above your eyebrows, this is the OFC directly behind that area. So if you do this, you are in theory touching the orbitofrontal cortex. That's where it's located. All right, what it does in simple real leader terms. It's your value assessor. And so it constantly asks, is this good for me or is this bad for me? Is this good for me or is this bad for me? So Jared, should you find yourself standing in front of a honey bun, a vending machine looking for a honey bun, the orbitofrontal cortex is saying, hey, this is good for us. We over here getting to our 200. This ain't good for us. And if you are opening a book, is this good for us or is this bad for us? It's good. Is it worth it? And the answer if it's a honey bun is no. An answer for Daisy if it's meat, red meat, no. But if it's fish, yes. If it's a book, yes. So it evaluates rewards versus consequences in real time. Social behavior regulator. So it helps you read the room. Honey buns are real bad, very bad. No bueno. You read the room. You walk in, you assess what's happening. That's your orbitofrontal cortex checking for shit. It adjusts your tone, your emotional tone, and notices when something is inappropriate. And all of you who've been on my lives have watched people be extremely inappropriate to me. So their orbitofrontal cortex ain't working. It's not stopping them. Modify behavior quickly if you need to adjust your behavior. I can be in the middle of teaching. Someone says something. I got to modify my behavior quickly and then modify it back to get us back on track or continue forward. So without it, people may say things that they shouldn't, miss social cues, and overact emotionally. Without it, you say stuff you shouldn't. You miss social cues. Somebody say, read the room, read the room. You're not reading the room. Or you overreact emotionally. Or something extremely simple. It's also a decision filter. So the OFC helps update behavior when something used to work but no longer does. Nola found that out the other day, that her 5 years in business and the system that she had in place no longer works because TaskRabbit has changed some things. And her personal business, it still works, but on that platform, it doesn't work. Not red meat or chicken because my blood type is A positive. Yes, ma'am. No red meat or chicken. Yes, I remember. See, you said that briefly. I think you might even wrote it up and not even said it. I can't remember where you said it, but I do know you did say it. All right. So the OFC helps to update behavior when something used to work, but it no longer does. No acid breakdown from the meat. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that update and clarification. A reward is no longer rewarding. And I talked about that on the TikTok live. Watching gangster documentaries and crime shows and listening to gospel music, none of that is rewarding to me anymore. And it feels very heavy. So my orbitofrontal cortex said, we're not doing that no more. Okay? And a consequence becomes more important. I talked about having with Daisy and her diet and Jared making sure he don't eat honey buns. Me drinking decaf and eating too much seasoning gives me heartburn. So in December, I'm done with that. Orbitofrontal cortex said, we good. None of this food is worth feeling like this for the rest of the day. We are good. And so it helps you change strategies when the environment changes. It allows you to change strategies when the environment changes. Good morning, Lola. And so you are elevating what you are doing. I'm no longer in the hood. My environment has changed. So I'm elevating my strategies. I don't need to walk around with a tie around in the back anymore. Not necessary anymore because my environment changed. Number 4 is it is an emotional reward integrator. So it connects, wait for this is great. Emotion, the amygdalas, body signals, the insula, reward pathways, that dopamine reward system in the nucleus accumbens, and then executive control with Miss Darlene, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. So emotion, body signals, reward pathways, and executive control. It integrates that and it answers, how do I feel about this? Is this aligned with my long-term goals? Is this 2 levels up? Is eating honey buns aligned with my goals? Is eating red meat and chicken aligned with my goals? No. Is watching crime documentaries and all these other things and listening to gospel music aligned with the blank blank app and me becoming a Nobel laureate? The answer is no. It's no longer aligned. Therefore, I don't have to do it anymore. So what does that mean in real leader terms? I'm glad you asked, Jared. The orbital frontal cortex is the is this worth it circuit. The read the room circuit and the adjust quickly circuits. We're going to call and make audibles very quickly in real time. And so why this matters to real leadership? Because here are some principles of real leadership that align with the orbital frontal cortex. And remember, I said after we finish the let me phase of the 74 principles of real leadership, I would be telling you these principles go and match with these brain regions and systems, or against it, like for social conformity theory and social judgment theory. Embrace change means that you are updating your behavior when outcomes shift. I'm embracing change. I'm done with the documentaries and the bad food and the doggone gospel music. I'm moving on to something else. So I got to embrace what comes next. Set and maintain high standards. I'm choosing long-term value over short-term reward. So yeah, I drink a Pellegrino. That's a short-term reward. And now I'm messing up my system. It's going to have to take damn near 3 weeks for it to reset. That's no braino. I am working in the world, which is my lab right now, to produce the blank blank app and become a Nobel laureate. So that's a long-term view over me saying, ooh, I'm about to get some likes. Ooh, watch this video go viral. Ooh, that's not enough. Not for my 2 levels up self. And then most importantly, personal accountability. Owning poor value calculations and correcting them. I talk about my teeth now because I'm getting the work done. I caused it, I solve it. That's on me. So that was a poor value decision for decades of eating sugar and not flossing and not brushing and not getting proper dental care on me. And now I am correcting that bad behavior. I am being personally accountable every single day with my teeth, to the point, and I don't know if I told y'all this part, but when they were matching the getting ready for the bridge and the crowns and they hand you all those little teeth colors, the highest they could go was the B1. And she put it to my teeth. I was like, you ain't got anything whiter than that? And she was like, no, this is it. And she said, are you using a whitener for your teeth? I said, no, I use a cap full of peroxide as a pre-rinse, and I use Sensodyne whitening toothpaste, and that's it. And I stopped drinking soda, coffee, and tea, so there's nothing that can stain my teeth. Nothing at all. So the point is, I became personally accountable. I wasn't taking care of my teeth, and I now am taking care of my teeth. So the ACC detects any type of conflict that's taking place. If you're wondering where that actually fits, and the orbital frontal cortex abbreviation is OFC. So if you hear me start saying OFC, that's what it means. It decides if the behavior is still worth it. Is it still worth me brushing my teeth multiple times a day and flossing? Hell yeah. Is it still worth me only drinking flat water, chamomile tea, and rooibos tea? Yes, it is. With a couple green drinks? Yes, because I don't have no heartburn. So yes, it is still worth it. Jared, you're reading 20, 21 books. Is it still worth it? Yes. Daisy, you're eating fish. Is it still worth it? Absolutely. That is what is taking place. And so as I mentioned yesterday, we were going to start taking 60 seconds to have our peace. And so we're going to do that now. I'm going to go off camera And I'm going to start the clock. And for 60 seconds, you're just going to sit in peace. And how you will know that the 60 seconds is up is that you will hear the actual timer going off on my tablet. Let me make sure that the volume is up. So your 60 seconds starts of just sitting in peace. It starts in 3, 2, 1. And that's awesome, Jared. And the reason why we will be taking those 60 seconds of peace breaks is because you need to know what neutral feels like. You need to know what it feels like as the new baseline so you can start to create that 60 seconds in your life. That silence, that neutralness in your life, and you will start to do it during your day. Because I thought about it and I can tell you to do it, but if we do it over here, now it's going to become implicit, and then you will start to naturally do it in your daily life. Okay. So now let's look at the dysregulated OFC versus the regulated OFC. And if I didn't say it, congratulations, Jared, on your books. And I knew it wasn't going to show up correctly because it's how big it is. Okay. Here we go. All right. And this is going to lead into your neural report today. I'm going to just wait because that's going to distract me. Doggone YouTube will just not let everything got to be so small on here. Let me go back to this one. At least I made 2, right? At a minimum. It definitely clears my mind. Yes. All right. So we're going to be discussing a dysregulated OFC versus a regulated OFC. And a dysregulated, my pleasure, sir. A dysregulated OFC is for an untrained survival comfort-seeking brain. So anytime I'm talking about dysregulation, I'm talking about basically 5.9 billion adults in America and in the world. And then a regulated brain is people who have trained their brain and who actually are neutral and working towards neutral in their emotional baseline, and they are focused on becoming high functioning. That is what each category means. So let's look at the orbitofrontal cortex for a dysregulated brain versus a regulated brain. Again, the OFC is above your eye sockets. It evaluates rewards versus consequences. It adjusts your behaviors when outcomes change. It reads the social cues in the room, and it updates your decision making when you allow it. So let's look at decision making in a dysregulated brain. So the dysregulated OFC knows something is not aligned, does it anyway. Jerry shouldn't be eating honey buns. Daisy shouldn't be eating chicken and red meat. I don't need to be eating anything that's acidic or carbonated. So none of us do it. But in a dysregulated brain, we'll do it and suffer the consequences after the fact. Jerry could buy some new clothes. Daisy could lay down at lunch. I could just get a prescription for heartburn and call it a day and say, fuck perimenopause. Repeats behaviors that no longer produces good outcomes. Me watching crime documentaries and crime shows and all of that and listening to gospel music no longer produces the outcomes that it used to produce many years ago when I decided that would be my emotional baseline, low emotional baseline. So it doesn't even produce good outcomes. And it chases immediate dopamine over long-term stability. We know that neutral is stable when it comes to your emotions. And manufactured dopamine, the more you chase it, the more you need it in order for you to get that same dopamine fix that used to just be, I used to only have to be on social media for 20 minutes. Now I got to be on it for 40 minutes. And now, for real, if I really want to feel better, it's going to take me an hour and a half. That is a poor decision-making circuit in a dysregulated brain. Everyday examples are, you tried but scrolled, you're tired, but you scrolled for 45 minutes. If you're tired, go to sleep. The adenosine has built up to tell you, take a nap. Go to sleep for 45 minutes. Don't go on social media for 45 minutes because now you're going to be tired and drained. You overspend even after saying you're budgeting, because this was a buy one, get one free. This was a limited time only, just for today. I had to get it now. So you overspend, even though you said you were staying within your budget. You continue arguing even when you know it won't improve anything. You still gonna get your fucking point across. Why? It's not gonna change any outcomes. Two untrained, dysregulated brains ain't never gonna come to an agreement that makes sense for anybody. It's not gonna happen. So stop. Don't waste your neurological effort. And the internal calculation is distorted. This feels good right now. That's enough. That's 5.9 billion adults' daily existence. This feels good right now. I'm going to go get this sugary ass coffee to wake me up to go to this job that I can't stand, even though I got diabetes and I'm overweight. I'm going to go ahead and eat some fast food at lunch. I'm going to sit down and eat it and let it just sit there. I'm not going to go on no walk. Not going to buy me some Hokas or some Brooks or some new shoes and go walk at lunchtime. I'm not going to do that. And then I'm going to eat a big ass dinner and watch prime time. And then I'm going to go to sleep and deal with whatever. Because this is good enough for right now. I'm surviving. I'm living for today. And that's enough for me every day. But that's getting in the way. That's enough. But good enough never is. It never is. If it's enough, why are you overweight? Why are you overspending? Why are you overindulging? Why does it take more if before one donut was enough? If 2 donuts was enough, and now you at a dozen donuts throughout the day. People say, oh, I got to have 4 cups of coffee a day. Why? Why you need 4 cups of coffee every day? Every day. Do you know what that's doing to your brain and your adenosine? Up and down, 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 up and down. You're not even evaluating that anymore. And caffeine is highly addictive. So now you just go, oh, I got to have 4 cups. I got to start the morning. I need the coffee before I start making up my bed and brushing my teeth. And I got to have the coffee first. Then I have to have, that's my pre-coffee. Then I have to have my 2 cups of during coffee. And then I have to have my post-coffee so I can walk out the door to go to my job. And then I might have 2 more coffees while I'm at work, depending on what's happening at work. Then I get home, I got to have a glass of red wine. Got to have a glass of red wine to calm my nerves down. Need a little cocktail. That's what's happening. And then the next thing you know, because alcohol breaks down as sugar, you're overweight. You might be at a meeting saying, hey, my name is Donna, I'm an alcoholic, depending on how much red wine you drink. And for what? For a dysregulated, low emotional baseline, untrained brain survival existence. Comfort and safety. Comfort and safety. Let's look at regulated brains, OFC. It pauses and recalculates. I tell y'all every morning if I've had a thought in my default mode network chat and I discussed it, and here's what my takeaways are. Because I am teaching you what to do when you are in your default mode network. Self-reflect. Self-reflect so that you can assess where you are in your 2 levels up process. Updates behavior when data changes. No longer going to have this low emotional baseline for anything. Neutral is the new normal. Stay neutral. They used to stay liquid on SWAT. Stay neutral. And you weigh the long-term standards over the short-term impulses. Yes, I could drink this Pellegrino right now, and it's going to taste good for about 12 seconds, and then it's not. And then I'm going to spend the rest of my day with this big-ass pressure here and gas. for the rest of my day for 10 seconds of some little bubbly. No bueno. Everyday examples are you close the app after noticing time loss. Shit. I said I was going to be on here 15 minutes. It's been 35 minutes. Get out of the app. You skip the purchase because it doesn't align with your goals. Here is a method that Nola was at the barber shop and someone told her, we've been using it ever since, told the client next to her. If you can't buy it twice, then you can't pay for it once. If you can't buy it twice, then you can't pay for it once. If something is $500 and you don't have $1,000 of disposable income, you don't purchase it. You do not purchase it. If you can't buy it twice, you can't pay for it once. If you use that, along with the principles of the richest man in Babylon, 70, 20, 10, you should be good to go. And then you got to ask yourself, do you need it? Do you want it? Do you need it or do you want it? I need some new walking shoes. I don't want new walking shoes. The old ones are giving me shin splints. So I need some new walking shoes. I purchased a pair of Brooks. They're not working for me. I'm going to take the old shoes that I have back to the shoe store, and we're going to work through what shoe is going to actually work for me. So this is a need, not a want. Internal calculation. So this is not worth the long-term cost. Drinking Pellegrino is not worth the long-term cost. It's not. Buying something for now and paying for it with interest for the next 7 months, 12 months ain't worth it. That's for small to mid-sized purchases. I'm not talking about cars and houses. I'm talking about normal shit that you could just do without. Do you need it or do you want it? So let's look at social behavior. In a dysregulated OFC, you miss tone shifts that are taking place. You say things impulsively. Well, that's just how I am. I say the first thing that comes to my mind. Why? Why you say the first thing that comes to your mind? That's why you have to think first before you respond over here. Think first. Because inhibition control is an executive function in prefrontal cortex. So that's going to tell you say it or not, or use one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Actually, 2 of them use tact and treat people with dignity and respect. So don't be impulsive with what you're saying, because now you're going to have to either apologize or say, well, I don't apologize. And if your feelings was hurt, that's on you. But in the back of your nice little Insula and ACC brain, you're going to know that was wrong and I shouldn't have said that. And struggles to adjust behavior to context. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to behave correctly. They just going to have to adjust to me. That's thermometer behavior instead of thermostat behavior. I just, and we know plenty of people like that, and you may even be that person. You can adjust your behavior. Why? Because embrace change is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and when your brain is wired for survival and not thrival, you're not even thinking about adjusting your behavior to a higher level of functionality. So here are some everyday examples. Makes a joke in a serious setting. An inappropriate joke at that. Shares private information without reading the room. And continues talking when others disengage. You're just going to follow people as they're trying to run away from you to have the conversation. The value signal is off. And so my expression matters more than the environment. I'm going to be me no matter what. Now, I know I've told y'all I'm the realest that you can get, and I am myself. But I also know how to read the room. I also know how to understand how to convey a message to a group of people in order for me to communicate effectively. And that is the objective as a real leader, is to communicate effectively and not just be talking for talking's sake. Now, social behavior in a regulated OFC looks like this. You read micro cues, and this has been one of the hardest things for me to do, is to go live 835 consecutive days and I can't see y'all. Because if I could see y'all, I would be looking at micro expressions. 90% of communication is nonverbal. So I have to use a profile photo and a name that may or may not be your name, and the words that you said and the character limits that are on these social media platforms, and infer and ask questions and attempt to understand what you're saying. Now, what has taken place, though, is because now I have a new communication level. And I understand, and I just dissected what somebody said on TikTok. And now I speak social media commenting now. It's a new language, and I can do that. That's the old school rule, yes. And now I'm able to do that as well. So I have a new communication resource that I didn't have before. So you adjust the tone, the pace, and the content. When someone says they don't understand, I'm not saying, well, you just better understand and I got to move on. I slow down, help me understand what it is. I might ask multiple questions because that's just how my brain, it works that fast. I'll dial it back. And then I'm looking at pace and content. And then calibrate to the environment without losing yourself. That's what I've been able to do my entire life. I've been able to do what I need to do in strict ass military and corporate America without losing me, without turning into a punk or coffee with cream. So here are some everyday examples. You soften your tone when someone is overwhelmed. If someone's like, oh my God, you're like, you better hide, get your shit together. You're not. You recognize it. Now, if somebody's trying to manipulate you, which is gaslighting and manipulating together, now you get sterner. You still adjust the tone. You get more stern instead of, oh, you okay? I know you just, no. Because that doggone brain that's seeking comfort will cry on purpose so that it won't have to be held personally accountable. So you still got to be able to read the room. Stop speaking when attention shifts. So when someone comes on here and starts saying dumb shit, I stop talking. And then I take back over again. And redirects humor appropriately. That is what you do. Reading the room and understanding what's happening. So the internal signal is adapt without compromising your standards. So you're not a doormat. You are not a people pleaser, but what you are doing is understanding the environment which you are operating in. If you go to the old folks home and visit people, you're not going to be like, okay, everybody, we about to see if we all got mag knees. Let's get on the ground and bump it in, pop it in, drop it in, drop it. That's not going to work for people who got walkers and bad knees and rheumatoid arthritis. So that's not where you would do that at. If you go to middle school, you'd be like, all right, come on, pop, 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 pop. Thank you. So number 3 is emotional reactivity. This is big. This is dysregulated brain, dysregulated OFC. So it overvalues emotional reactions. That's why you scroll. That's why on my TikTok, I got pets, wildlife, sunrises, and sunsets. And the algorithm will keep throwing people in as soon as I go in. And I got to say, not interested, not interested, not interested. And then I'll see what I want, no matter what I do, because they just testing. And sometimes it's payola, so they just push it through. And I'm saying, I don't want to see people. I don't want to be oversight. Stop scrolling. Stop scrolling. This is the best thing you got. Now, I will say, every now and then, the Lord will bless me. And yesterday, I went in TikTok, and Dr. J, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, was on my screen. It's a good-looking man. So I was happy to see that person. First time ever since I changed my algorithm over that I said, finally, you showed me a people I don't mind peopling. A person I actually want to see. Today was a good day. But other than that, not interested, not interested, not interested, not interested. It just, yes, Dr. J. Okay, I digress. So that was happy that I had closed my reward loop in my nucleus accumbens. Yes, indeedy. So in a dysregulated OFC, you are overly excitable. Noah's like, I'm so tired of hearing about Dr. J. I said, And somebody said, this man is still fine. 547 of us, because I was the 547th, agree. Yes, you are correct. I don't care what he was doing. I don't care what show he was on. Somebody's podcast. I'm going to fuck about none of that. Wow. Thank you, sir. Okay. Overvalues emotional reaction. So it's all this excitement. Dr. Julius Erving, the man. He is the one and only best basketball player of all times. He started in the 70s. Daisy, he's in New York. You should have been able to look up on him. High, lovely, cute, gorgeous face, hair, makeup, and outfit. The fish that saved Pittsburgh. Basically, he is the man. He made basketball elegant and fine at the same time. Man, it's like a bottle of wine. It gets better with time. You hear that rhyme, Jared? Okay. All right, I digress. Okay. So it underestimates consequences. It ain't going to be that bad. I'll pay it next month. I just have one honey bun. It's just one sneaky link. Next thing you know, situationship, whatever the new term is, you underestimate the consequences of your inactions or your poor choices. And then you struggle to shift when something no longer serves you. You over here having whole problems and you will not shift or change. Not gonna do it. Head noodling. Everyday examples. Here we go. Sends the angry text. You weren't supposed to send that text and you did it anyway. Eats to regulate stress. I don't know who came up with that. I'm going to regulate my stress by eating. So I'm going to stress out every organ and every joint in my body by over-consuming to eliminate stress. And then tell people don't body shame me, don't fat shame me, don't shame them. I got problems. I got trauma. You got more problems and more trauma now. You just compounded interest on it. You just shoveling it in, shoveling it in, shoveling it in. And then doubles down instead of reassessing. That's identity protection. You ain't the boss of me. Can't nobody judge me, but God, that's all it is. You don't know my struggles. Yeah, I do. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you struggle up this flight of stairs. I'm looking at you over there struggling, trying to pay your bills. I'm looking at you struggling in this insignificant relationship that you just keep staying with this person that is just really making you a lesser, inferior version of yourself. You can't eat your way to mental health. You cannot, Jared. You cannot. You can't. Lazy J had to go away. The OFC fails to update, and so emotions equal action. Emotionalizing all damn day long. Cortisol can't get a fucking break. Just spraying all over the place. So in a regulated OFC, it feels emotion, but recalculates the value of it because you are at neutral. You are at neutral. So it delays the response. That's why when I ask you a question, you have to type an ellipse. You have to type a thinking emoji, a brain emoji, because you are training your brain to respond and not react. And it revises decisions when new information appears. We thought initially from last March that it was Amy and Lala causing all these damn problems. But because I'm in my 5th neuroscience class and I've been studying the brain every day for the last 15 months, every single day, we now know that they have some neuro champions coming along with them, some brain regions helping them out, somatic markers, the ACC, the basal ganglia, manufactured dopamine in an external stimuli reward loop in the nucleus accumbens. Hey, they got a whole crew coming for you every day. We know that the brain is hardwired for negativity, bias, and survival. We got that information now. So as a result of that, we are at high functioning, working towards it. We know that a Neuro Rep a day keeps the lazy J's away. That's what we know. That's why we do that. So everyday examples are, you might draft the text, bitch, I wish you, but you don't send the text. You might even draft it to yourself, just in case you do hit send, you sending it to you. But you just got to get it out. You got to get the brain dump out so you can clear your head of that cortisol and you can get back on track. So this isn't about being perfectionist. It's not. You are going to get angry with a high functioning brain, but because of inhibition control, you're going to recover faster. You're going to assess what's causing you to be angry, upset, depressed, sad. So you're going to assess it from a neutral emotional state, and then you're going to actually do something about it. You're going to actually be able to change what's taking place. You get back to neutral as soon as possible with a regulated brain. So you're not going to send a text. You're going to take a walk instead of stress eating. Jared is like, I'm going to drink water. Drink water. Every time you think of a honey bun, I'm going to drink water. You're going to hydrate. And you're going to say, let me reconsider. I tell people I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to sleep on it. So that's that internal recalibration. And so emotion is not data. It's data. It's not direction. It's data. It's just a data point. It's just a signal and some information coming in. It doesn't mean that you got to react to it every time it shows up. That's a low emotional baseline in your SGACC, and that's no bueno for thee. So change, adaptation, and this is how it connects to embrace change, the principle of real leadership. So in a dysregulated OFC, it clings to outdated strategies, holding on for dear life. It keeps using old reward systems. Well, this used to work. This used to work. Me watching all them crime documentaries and listening to gospel music used to work, and it hasn't worked for a while. I just couldn't understand why it wasn't working anymore. Now I know it had to go. And it feels threatened by behavioral shifts. So you're going to notice that something doesn't work anymore. You're going to attempt to shift, and in a dysregulated brain, it's going to be like, nah. No, I don't think we should do this. So here are some examples. This is how I've always done it. Okay. It keeps marketing in a way that no longer converts. I'm going to go to the store and do this. This is how I always pay my bills. This is how I always fix my food. This is how I always go to work. This is how I always talk to people. It's not working. And it holds on to relationships that no longer align. Holding on to relationships that no longer align, even if they're just annual. Go to the annual family, whatever. Even if they're, haven't talked to, I got a friend I talk to every couple of years. And we just have a conversation. We check in with each other. We see if we're okay. It's not, let it go. Let it go. The reward memory is rigid, and because it's a survival brain seeking comfort daily, the options are extremely limited. Extremely limited options in a dysregulated existence that does not want to embrace change. With a regulated OFC, you update your reward value. Is this matching my 2 levels up? Does it match my 2 levels up? Good morning, Donald. Does it? And if it doesn't, don't do it. Don't do it. It reassigns what worth it means. 15 years ago, 16 years ago, I pull up in the woo. I got all the shit on, making it do what it do. Rudy roo, poopity poo, all of that. You couldn't have told me that I would not be driving a car. I would not be wearing jewelry, a lot of expensive jewelry, and I wouldn't be Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. I'm Gucci gang before he made the damn song. I wore Gucci from 15 for about 30 years. 30 years, consistently. I'm in high school with my Gucci tote bag. That part. Yes, Gucci watch with the bezels that change colors. That whole thing. And it just stopped. I don't need it no more. It's not worth it anymore. Plus the creative directors fucked it all up. But anyway, there's another reason why. It's just not the quality that it used to be. I still have my old stuff because it was handmade, it was expensive, and it still looks good on me. And it was worth it. But not anymore. So that's not worth it. But what is worth it to me is I'm in my 5th neuroscience class. I got these brain books from the library. Sure did. Coming live every day to teach people how the brain functions so that they can be high functioning. That is worth it for me now. And so it evolves when outcomes change. My objectives for my goals for my life, the blank blank app, and to become a Nobel laureate. That's my new objective. So I have to operate differently. I got to embrace all kinds of changes in order for that to happen. I was anti-live for a long time. Then I realized that's where the people are. That's where you can be unfiltered. Just get the message directly to the people. Eliminate the middleman, and you just you and them. Right there. Nice, even exchange. And so here are some examples. You adjust the strategy when the data shifts. I started out studying the brain on Very Well Mind, the Mayo Clinic, the Cleveland Clinic. Y'all know the story. It wasn't enough. Started using chat. Took my first neuroscience class last May, and the rest, as they say, is history. And now I'm learning something every day. Because of that, look at this stat. That's a lot of topics for the brain that we got to cover now. Each one of these posters represents a brain topic, and some of them got multiple, like this shit got something on the back. So a lot. How many brain lectures you got? A lot. So it ends misaligned commitments. I'm not going to say yes to something that is not good for my health and, most importantly, my brain. No, I'm not doing that. Hey, let's go eat a bunch of cotton candy. Nope, I'm good. I got dental work that I'm still working on. I'm not about to eat that shit. Not me. No. I go to Sorry Not Sorry and I have a little bitty scoop of Sorry Not Sorry. It's vegan oat milk ice cream. And it's the cup is like this big. And I eat off of that for 2 to 3 days. A couple times a month. Little bitty small amount with a little bitty spoon. And that's my treat. Doesn't give me heartburn. Doesn't make me sick. No candida or none of that. So that Sorry Not Sorry works. If you have one in your area, I don't know if they're franchised or not, but it's actually good. So I adjust the strategy when the data shifts. It ends misaligned commitments, and I choose excellence over familiarity. Excellence, always. That's what we used to say when I was MP. People salute me, excellence always. Keep it pushing. So always. Excellence. There isn't another option for me. It's excellence. And that's AKA be the best, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. That's optimal. So you go from this untrained, dysregulated brain with this low emotional baseline to this high trained, neutral baseline for emotions and excellence. Best. Every single day in everything that you do in every way. So here it is in real leader language. The dysregulated OFC is short-term comfort over long-term alignment. I'm comfortable today. I worry about tomorrow. And this is a favorite. Tomorrow ain't promised to nobody. Tomorrow ain't promised to nobody. You want 18,000 days of tomorrow ain't promised to nobody. You might want to shift that, that narrative. Because you had 18,000 days of tomorrow ain't promised to nobody. Hey, Kia. Excellence always. Be the example. But a regulated OFC says long-term standards over short-term relief. Long-term. I'm in my 50s. I'm preparing, God willing, higher power of the universe for my 60s from a health perspective. I'm not going to be eating shit that's going to show up at 62, 63. Fuck that. It's just food. I just need substance. I can go find enjoyment and thrills in other areas. So here is your Neuro Rep for today. This rep trains the Orbitofrontal Cortex to reassess short-term rewards against long-term standards and updates behavior in real time. Thank you. It strengthens flexible decision-making under an emotional pull. That's SGACC. And that VACC, and the dysregulated brain that keeps pulling you back to this low, untrained level. It just keeps pulling you back. And it builds change adaptation without emotional overreaction. Neutral. Gonna get you everywhere you need to be. So the brain regions that you will be using for this Neuro Rep are the Orbitofrontal Cortex, so that's the value recalibration circuit, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex for executive override and the standard holder, the ACC for the conflict detector, the Insula for all these internal signals that are keeping you aware of what's happening, and then the basal ganglia for behavior pattern updater. So the Neuro Rep is this. You're going to identify one small behavior today that gives short-term comfort, but weakens your long-term standards. Scrolling, snacking, smacking, over-explaining, reacting, delaying, something in that category. You're going to pause. And you're going to ask yourself internally, is this aligned with my standard, my high standard, my 2 levels up? And then you're going to adjust the behavior in real time. Not tomorrow. Now, I'm going to start scrolling. No. Is this aligned with, pick one and run, Jared, my internal 2 levels up standard? And then you're going to complete the upgrade right there in real time, in real life. 10 seconds of significant silence. Exactly. Well, all in my business. Okay. Well, I sure am, Lacey. And I sent you that information and you did not respond. Let me tell you something about me, Lacey. Let me tell you something. When I send you something, you respond. I sent you immediately. You respond to me immediately. Okay. Follow up and follow through. That's what you need to do. And good morning to you. All right. So we're going to be using that today. And now I'm going to switch. Now, this is the beginning. We're going to take this all the way to Saturday, possibly Sunday. This is the beginning of the orbitofrontal cortex. What questions, if any, do you have about the OFC? You down with OFC? Yeah, you know me. Who's down with OFC? Everybody. OFC, how can I explain it? I'll take it neuron by neuron. Yes, ma'am. I actually, when I say I'm going to follow up and I give you a time, unless I'm dead, unless I'm dead, I don't have no internet connection and the power went out, you're going to hear from me when I said you're going to hear from me. Keep your word is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And in turn, I hear from you. All right. Nola's thinking. Jared is thinking. Intrusive thoughts happen to me all the time. I feel like I got a foundation. We'll learn more. Yes. And so I took the concept from school where you pick a subject, you pick a chapter in the book. If you're doing math, you work on mixed fractions all week long, and you take a quiz at the end of the week. Don't know if we're going to get to quizzes at the end of the week, but I do know that we need, because every day was changing before, because that was our third time going through the principles of real leadership, and I needed you to have that foundation. So now we have the time and can take the time to take each region or each concept and go over it multiple days or for a whole week if necessary. Okay. So while Daisy has something to say, go ahead and drink water. Okay, I see it from you now, Lacey. You said, I understand it and on it, exclamation points. Notice I do not have my notification sounds on, but I still get my notifications. That's rude and that's poor communications. You can still see the notifications while you're going live. Looking forward to learning more is what Daisy said. Okay, I'm going to change the graphics so we can talk about the brain bit. Then we're going to get to our 4 questions. I didn't even mean to create a highlight. It is what it is. That one we're not going to use. So right here. So yesterday, I'm minding my own business as always when I go into TikTok because I have to look for things in there. I got to create my live. People start responding to questions, so I have to be there because I post there. So I'm minding my own business, and I used to follow 4 different neurologists, and that's the people, the doctors, the MDs who actually work on your brain. And I stopped when I started studying the brain, because what I realized was that their information was not the information that I needed in order to teach you how your brain functions. It was, kind of high level, not even high level, but it wasn't deep enough for you to be able to execute it in real time. Changing the game one brain at a time. Yes, ma'am. So I'm minding my own business because I do that. And there is a neuroscientist on there, and he said, let me get this right. Let me switch. I forgot I'm in my wrong brain bit, mechanisms versus smart. So I wasn't paying attention. Yes, I wasn't paying attention. So he started the sentence with, here's one fact. I said, oh, let me see what he got to say. I ain't seen him in a minute. So he starts talking about sleeping. And he starts using these terms, and I threw the paper away. Let me see if I still have it, because I was mad as hell. He started talking about, I'm going to fuck this all the way up. The glymphatic system and the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus. I had the hypothalamus. I had to screenshot that shit, stop it, pause it, and screenshot it. So the glymphatic system and the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus, because he said it was about sleeping. And so he said basically what happens is you're excitable, and then you try to go to sleep and you can't go to sleep. And we finally get to sleep, the alarm clock, the iPhone, or whatever it is, and wakes you up. Wakes you up out of your sleep. Cortisol is elated in your brain. He created like all this fucked up shit is happening. I was like, woo. And then I had to eat. So I saved the video. Everything is all clear. Okay. Thank you, Monique. So I saved the video. I come back to it because I'm like, shit, I got to find out what this is. I need to know what the glymphatic system and suprachiasmatic, superalifragilistic espialidosis, nucleus of the hypothalamus is. What is that? That sounds like some shit I need to tell y'all. Yeah, here you go. All right, B, because this is what I'm about to say. So then I go back and he get all the way to the end. This motherfucker is advertising alarm clocks that light up the room instead of beep. said, paid promotion? What the fuck? I was angry, livid. I said, he started with, here's one fact. And then he proceeded to take us down this rabbit hole and says, well, what you have to do is when you wake up to natural light and this alarm clock, let me know what y'all think in the comments. I said, bitch, you don't want me to tell you what I think in the comments. So I unsaved the video and then I processed. What the fuck is this? So then I had a conversation with chat. We went back and forth. And here's what's taking place. Because I have an Amazon store now. And what do I say? Get your brain t-shirt from Amazon. And why am I telling y'all to wear brain t-shirts? So that you can start having conversations about the brain, because we can't see the brain. Everything on my Amazon shop, I use. I picked household items that I use for everyday brain, for everyday life. And that's what I say. Here are the things that are working for me to make my everyday life simpler and efficient. That's what they're there for your everyday existence. I don't have no brand deals currently. Now, if a water company is trying to give me some water, send it. And then sure, this shit is expensive. So if y'all want to work with me, hey, I'm here. I put this shit, we see this every day. You know what I'm saying? Sally Hansen, y'all see my hand. This is shit I do for your everyday simple life. But an alarm, and I could feel it. My ACC is like, he don't use that damn clock. So I went to chat and I said, this is some bullshit. Now, we're going to look at mechanisms versus marketing. So what I told chat was, I said, here, this is why I stopped listening to them. Because here's what should have taken place. So he's creating a problem, because that's what marketers do. And then here is the solution to your problem. So I'm going to say what should have gotten done after I go through this brain bit. So here we go. When someone starts with, here's one fact. Your ACC conflict detector starts listening. It's a fact. He said it. Fun fact. Fact. And so if it ends with, so you need this product, your ACC is checking for alignment. Miss Brenda Jones is saying, wait a minute. You said this was a fact. And now you're trying to sell me an alarm clock that the light come on naturally. I don't even know if that's going to work. Let's see what somebody said. What the hizzy? So this is mechanisms versus marketing. So the mechanism first, education, explains the neural system. That's what I do to y'all. I tell y'all what's happening. This is what the orbitofrontal cortex is. This is what's going on. It teaches regulation behaviors. Amy and Lala, set y'all asses down. You're supposed to be identifying a real threat or something that we could actually use. Sit down. No, we're not giving y'all no damn binky of a manufactured dopamine so you can close that reward loop in the nucleus accumbens. No, sit down. It strengthens the circuits through repetition, neuro reps daily. And it empowers discernment. Empowers others is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And that's a mechanism. That's here. Now, marketing first persuasion highlights psychological fear cues. Here's one fact. You're sleeping wrong. You get to the end of your day and you go, ah! And then you can't go to sleep. And then when you sleep, you got restless sleep. You toss it, you turn it, you toss it, you turn it, you toss it, you turn it. You finally get to sleep in the last 30 minutes before you got to get up, and then you hear, bang, 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 bang. That's your alarm clock. You're like, shit, that's happening to me. Whoo, I'm having a hot flash. He right. Fuck. Damn, I don't be wanting to get up. Damn, he right. No worries, no worries. Have I got the alarm clock for you? So it highlights that fear. Grab you real quick. Why? Because it take a minute for that doggone executive function to come online because you dysregulated and Amy and Lala is looking for a threat. Woo! We can't sleep. Oh my God, we can't sleep. Hey! Ooh. Oh no, I gotta go. Action at work. Okay, got it, sir. So it amplifies the urgency and it presents a product as a solution. Beep, beep, beep. No more. We've got glow light for you. Here we go. Selfie light. It's going to wake you up naturally. Yes. So now they have a selfie light alarm clock that just, it looks like the sunrise. And it bypasses deeper wiring conversations. So it's quick. That's why everybody's garage is full of shit. because fear showed up. Gotta have this, gotta have that, gotta have this. And then you didn't assess, do I want to be woken up by a lighted alarm clock? But the neurologist said, here's one fact. So it got to be good for me, because a neurologist wouldn't sell me some shit I don't need. Would he? Let me ask you this. Do y'all need an alarm clock that wakes you up by natural light? Do you need it? Do you need it? So here is the real leader reminder. The brain does not rewire from a gadget, a supplement, or a shortcut. Somebody asked me about supplements yesterday. I said a supplement can only supplement what's there. If you didn't wire it, it ain't there. So it ain't supplementing shit. So the brain rewires from attention, repetition, behavioral consistency, and circuit strengthening. So it's not what's going to happen. So here's a quick discernment test, and I'm going to tell y'all what you can actually do. And you don't need a lighted alarm clock to wake you up. When you hear brain information, ask yourself this. Did they explain the full mechanism? No. What he did was give you some fucking terms that sound neurologicless. The glymatic system, the glymphatic system, and the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus. Now, those are actually true things in the brain. So what he said is not false information. It's not fake neural brains. Did they consider individual rewiring? Nope, and I'm going to tell y'all why. And is the product optional or positioned as necessary? In the way he positioned it is, you need this motherfucking clock if you want to sleep through the night and wake up to natural light. They even had a video of it from the company showing people sleep with the natural light showing on. So if your ACC tightens, if your Insula like, something ain't right, this ain't right, pause. Because discernment is a trained circuit. And trained circuits protect your clarity. Okay. So let me explain to you, ladies and gentlemen, now, what should have taken place or could. Now, remember, I started studying the brain in November 2024. I am 15 months in. Okay. I'm not a neuroscientist, nor do I ever want to be. I already got my doctorate. I don't need another one. I started looking at Very Well Mind. They didn't have enough information for me. I started getting on the newsletters. So the Cleveland Clinic, the Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins. I got 4 neuroscience certificates from Johns Hopkins from studying the brain, mastering the brain, teaching others how to do the same. And so now I'm at brain books, neuroscience classes, and me and chat using the 74 principles of real leadership. So that's my neuroscience credentials. Okay. This person, a neurologist working on people's brains. But here's what I do know, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if I'd have saw this time last year, I would have been like, damn, and they got this light. He would have had me shook too. But what a difference a year makes. What a difference a year makes. So the first thing, part of the reason why I saved the video was because I was looking for this one word. It's one word. Adenosine. And I didn't hear that. What I heard was intergalactic, the hypothalamus. And let me say what he said for real. The glymphatic system, the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus, and cortisol. That's what I heard. Mood recognition and Now let me tell you what actually you can do. You don't have to buy his clock, and I recommend that you don't. I don't care if it was a paid partnership. So here is what that shitty ass marketing proposal did. It didn't take into consideration individual sleeping environments. So in my primary retreat, I have 4 windows that cannot be covered up with anything because of how they're made. So I sleep in a sleep mask. So, because I have to block the sun out. I live in Las Vegas, sun shines a lot. So how I'm going to get up with a sleep mask on to natural light? If anybody slept in a sleep mask, mine is padded and everything. It's black. You can't see shit. Especially with your eyes closed. So you sleep. The light comes on with no sound. You gonna miss your alarm. That's number 1. Number 2, married people usually are not on the same schedule. So you sleep, your spouse sleep. It's time for you to get up, but they just got home because they work a separate shift from you, or you're a morning person and they're a night person. So they just went to sleep. You get up early and the whole room is lit. Now both y'all gonna be up. Both y'all about to wake up. So anybody that has a significant other that they sleep next to, y'all both getting up at the same time. Get rid of them. So now you got rid of people that have sleep masks on, and then people who sleep with somebody else. That's a lot of damn people. Now, take my amazing offspring who has 3 mental illnesses. She can sleep through anything, anywhere. That light could come on, and that she done had her alarm going off for 15 minutes. So that ain't waking her up either. Hard sleepers, out the door. Gone. So in order for you to have this clock to wake you up, you got to be a light sleeper that sleeps alone, that is actually seeing the light while you sleep. And if you hit the NREM when it naturally goes off, you may or may not get up. Okay? Okay, got it. So you got 4 different groups of people can't even fucking buy the clock. And then he gonna say, let me know what you think. He said, this is the one I use. I said, bullshit. You ain't using that damn clock and you know it. You a fucking neurologist. Your sleep cycle is dysregulated like a motherfucker because you on call. You need an alarm to wake you up. You got to get the fuck up. How do I know? Because I used to be 24 hours when I was in the Army and I had to do duty officer and we in the field and we weren't an exercise. The last thing you getting is enough fucking rest. They are the restlessest people in the world, them and nurses. Because you got to go perform surgery. You got to be standing up for fucking 14, 15, 20 hours. And go get you what? Back up again. You ain't using that damn clock. Get the fuck out of here. So what should you do for good sleep? I'm going to tell you the mechanism. First of all, go to bed and wake up at the same time every day if you're not traveling. Even when you spring forward and you fall back. Go to bed at the same time and wake up. Because he said that key word everybody's scared of, circadian rhythms. Okay, circadian rhythms, got it. That's going to balance it out. That's why people with good circadian rhythms, we about to have to spring forward, we're going to be fucked up for 2 weeks. Then we're going to fall back, we'll be fucked up for 2 weeks again, because that actually fucks up our circadian rhythm. That's number 1. Go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time every day. Wait a minute, Dr. Donna, but I might be sleepy. That's why take naps is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Now, when you do that, you're going to be good to go. Now, you're going to wake up naturally. You're going to go to sleep naturally. And adenosine is a hormone that is low when you wake up and builds up all day long. And that's why by the time you get to your version of 2 p.m., you get a little tired. But what you're not going to do is go get some caffeine. You, if it's possible, unless you work in manufacturing, you're a truck driver or something, you're going to take you a power nap, an NREM nap, which is 20 to 30 minutes, or a REM nap if you work from home, and you can 90 minutes. You're going to take a whole complete nap, and that adenosine is going to go back down. And you're going to wake back up, you're going to finish out your day, and you're going to go to bed on time. That's what's going to happen. And you're going to create a nice sleeping environment that matches your sleeping environment. I have one of those cooling air mattress toppers now because I'm perimenopausal, and I be fucking hot as hell. So that cooling mattress didn't save my life. I have a bald head, so I sleep with my hat on my head about 8 months out the year and my sleep mask. I got very nice sheets and firm pillows. I'm sleeping like a baby in my 100% soft cotton pajamas, even if I take a nap. Now that's how you sleep and you wake up. And I set 2 alarms. Even though I never need my second alarm, I set an alarm at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I set 2 alarms on my phone and my alarm clock for 3:30. Because I got to be up by 3:30 to be online by 4. Never make it to the second alarm because my circadian rhythms are intact. And when I get ready to take a nap, if it's an NREM nap, I set my phone 30 minutes or 2 hours. And I'm good to go. I'm a sleepologist. Now, how much did that cost y'all? The 6 minutes that it just told me to go to sleep. Now, what have I taken into consideration? I didn't tell you go to bed at 11 o'clock every night and wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning because you might be a night person. 3 types of sleep cycles: larks, hummingbirds, and night owls. Larks make up 10% of the sleeping population. We early birds. We getting the fuck up between 4 and 7 a.m. Then you got night owls. They going to sleep late as hell. And then that's 20% of the sleep population. And the other 30% are hummingbirds. They can go to sleep at any time, wake up at any time. So I said when it's time for you to go to sleep and for you to wake up, That's individual and that's personalized. I was a firefighter, always interrupted sleep, always. But so how the fuck are you going to use a clock with the sunshine coming? Dr. Donna, I agree. Nothing wake me up. I'm a hard sleeper. I go to bed early so I can wake up early. Right. So that clock ain't going to do nothing for you. So as a neurologist, he did not give you other options and he scared the shit out of you. So what did people do? People going to buy that fucking clock. You know what people going to do? Wake up late. Or be divorced. Or get kicked out. The significant other going to be like, go sleep in another room. I hate that damn clock. Light sensitivity for people with doggone mental illnesses. Now you got this bright ass light showing up. From a neurologist, ladies and gentlemen, because his team said, hey, this will be good. You can make some money doing this. Okay, cool. He not even thinking that shit don't make no sense. And nobody else ain't thinking that. But because I've been studying the brain for 15 months, I'm like, that ain't even the right answer. That's why I had to learn how the brain functions so we could be high functioning. Because we got neurologists selling us fucking clocks that we don't fucking need and they're not going to fucking work. And he inside the brain doing shit. So that's the mechanism versus marketing. So yeah, I do have an Amazon shop and I got a TikTok shop. You know what's in there? Saline solution and nasal rinses. Why? Because of my disabledness as a veteran, I got sinusitis. So I have to use a nasal rinse every day. So for veterans, I'm saying, because we hard-headed as shit, a veteran won't do shit right for health. Pain is just a weakness leaving the body. So what am I saying? You got sinusitis, to ensure that you don't have to get your prescriptions and go have sinus infections, rinse your damn nose. And now, even if I go to sleep late, I still wake up on time. My body used to being up at a certain time. That's the circadian rhythm, and you don't need no damn fucking sunshine alarm clock. You know what else I got? Ensure. How many times I held up this damn Ensure? Because I drink Ensure. I've been drinking Ensure since 2005, and it works. Especially for people who struggle with keeping weight on. And there is a group of us that does that. I've been drinking Ensure, especially now that I'm about to go back to the dentist. I'm going to be drinking Ensure and eating mashed potatoes and fucking eggs and mush shit. Soft foods. So these are things that I need. I got natural nails. Anybody trying to come out of natural nails, I've been going out of natural nails. I've had natural nails since 2016. And this Sally Hansen Hard as Nails actually works. So the things I'm saying, I actually use. You go to my Amazon store, I got on brand t-shirts. I got the mattress coolers in there. I have an L-shaped desk and ergonomic chairs because that shit works. But it's not just the one I'm using. It's the one that you might need to use. So I'm not saying you can't get a bag. I'm not saying don't recommend products to people. I got posters in there and pencils and shit because I'm still old school with spiral notebooks because I learned that way. And it's a group of us that actually learn that way. I'm not saying don't sell stuff. I'm not saying don't recommend products. But what I am saying is don't scare a motherfucker into purchasing. I ain't like, buy this rain shirt or else. You gonna die. You need a brain shirt in your life. I'm not using fear. I'm saying when your brain, when you get to a neurological level where you got neuro swag and you want to put a brain t-shirt on, go get one. I've been telling people like, nice brain shirt, nice brain shirt. I've been telling people go get it off of Amazon. Then I'm like, fuck it. Amazon been telling you have a store for over a year. Just go to my shop and get your brain t-shirt when you're ready. No pressure. You want to have on a brain t-shirt, have it on. I'm bringing sexy back. Nerds are the new sexy. Now you can have a conversation with somebody at the family picnic. Like, what's going on? Memorial Day picnic. What you doing, Brenda, with that brain shirt on? Well, let me tell you something. You do know you have an untrained brain. You can start a whole nother different conversation with it. That's what can happen. Daisy said by 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., I'm asleep. And my internal clock wakes me up a few minutes after 3 o'clock a.m. I'm 2:47, 57. Most of the time, unless perimenopause decides to fucking intervene, then what the fuck you gonna do? But get up. So my point is that even the experts are not actually concerned about whether you know how your brain functions or not. And they're not putting this sleep together. They're using the new jargon, the circadian rhythm, the vagus nerve, and all these new things, and cortisol, without telling you, hold up. If you want to sleep properly, here is the best way to sleep at night and take a nap. Now, go purchase those things. If some of those things you don't have, and I got them on my Amazon shop, go over there and get it. If you don't want to, don't. But don't say, here's one fact. Here's one fact, and now it's all these thousands and thousands of people saying it, and they're gonna go by this fucking clock and still wake up late and still be sleepy because they still gonna drink some fucking caffeine at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're gonna take an Ambien at night and fuck up the adenosine completely, and then their system is gonna be dependent on a sleep aid and a wake up aid instead of doing what the brain naturally does. And the other thing is to do a brain dump before you go to sleep, to clear your head. So if you do a brain dump, you ain't got to take no melatonin. You can, but you don't have to because you cleared your brain. And when you become high functioning and you get to a normal, neutral emotional baseline, all that shit that was fucking with you all day long can't, because you aren't allowing people to borrow your PFC and your ACC and none of that. You telling them you got 86 billion neurons, you better figure out how to use them. You need to start doing neuro reps too. That's what needs to take place. So now going forward, ask yourself, is this a mechanism or a marketing ploy? Which one is it? And the more stronger your brain becomes, your ACC and Insula are going to be like, something ain't right with this. Something ain't right with this. Something ain't right. Do I actually need this? Because that's how you end up overspending. Somebody then told you, here's one fact. You like, yup, hell yeah. I know I'll be waking up late. Haven't taken into consideration deep sleepers, 2 people in the bed, people who have light sensitivity, people who sleep with sleep masks, and none of that. You just talking. You ain't said that. Individual results will vary. Somebody asked about some results or something yesterday we talked about, Jared, but your individual results, the results that Lola has versus Bridget versus Nola versus Regina or anybody else are different, because we have different lives and we have different neurological existences every single day. What I'm saying is you're going to wire your brain to excellence. That's what you're going to do for your life. And your definition of excellence is different than mine. My connection is not clear, it's choppy. I will send you my 2 responses on TikTok. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. So the final 2 questions for today are this. And if you have to go, I understand. This is also for the replay. Where are my 2 questions at? Here are your 2 questions for today. And before you answer is ... What did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? These 2 questions serve several purposes. Number 1, you are telling your brain, I need to learn something every single day. Number 2, you are saying, I need to learn something about myself every single day. And by typing the ellipse, the brain emoji, the buffer, the you are training your inhibition control and strengthening it to say, I think before I respond. I think. I take the time to regulate Amy and Lala, as well as increase the neutrality of my low emotional baseline. I'm improving it to get the neutral. I'm going to think. And then with my frontal lobe, my prefrontal cortex, I'm going to answer this question about what I learned and what I learned about myself. And the what I learned about myself question in your default mode network will allow you to start being self-reflective and doing more in that capacity. And I turned the volume on this, trying to turn it up. They were rolling out. Okay. B said, I took notes. Still no. Wow, that's awesome. You know, the only thing I know from the Greg shorthand is the 3 circles for therefore and the width with the slash mark to do that. I had one of my instructors in college was a law professor, and he would write in shorthand all the time. But those are only 2 that I remember. I am so impressed with what you've challenged and confirmed with me today. Thank you so much. Okay. What's one thing that you learned? I learned today that I can wire my brain to excellence. I've defaulted to low emotional living for far too long. I can wire my brain to excellence. Thank you. My pleasure. And you're going to wire your brain. That's why you're on Instagram doing your Neuro Reps daily. That's the life hack. That's the secret. I don't have an alarm clock with no sunshine coming from it, but I do have some. I do specialize in neural clarity over here. Absolutely. Neural clarity. B said, drink water when impulse to eat sweets and not to use an old reward system. Yes. And that's just what Jared does. He was the honey bun king. Works at the post office distribution center. And he had his honey bun habit was so bad that he would be at the machine, opened it, and ate half of it before he realized he had a honey bun in his hand. And he is diabetic and needs to lose 22 more pounds. So that's his method. Nola said, I learned we're more like a thought. No one connects the 5 senses and the OFC. Daisy said, I learned today that I can train my brain to better my everyday life. Yes, ma'am. Well, I learned more like a thought. No one connects the 5 senses and the OFC. Yes. And the one thing that I will say is I continue to learn every day, hence all them damn post-its, that the brain isn't as complicated as the academics have said. Putting it all together makes it challenging, but that's what I do. I specialize in excellence. And what I'm finding as I'm in my 5th neuroscience class and I finished one of the children's brain books is they keep looking at the same damn information. And because they're not changing, the information that we have isn't changing. So we can't change as a global adult population because they just keep looking at the same things over and over and over and over and over. And then they use animals to test things and all. And so no one, and this isn't of their own fault because again, I'm coming from outside the system. And so what's happening is the question is, how can we produce high functioning adults? And it's through the mechanism that everybody walks around with their brain. And that's the difficult part, is to trust the adult brain enough to give the adult brain the information that it needs and a system to operate within to learn how to become high functioning. That's the difficult part that I now know is not difficult because I'm teaching it. No, I learned about myself. My OFC is stronger because I receive those signals stronger now. Yes, ma'am. Daisy said, I learned about myself today that I have to wire my brain for excellence daily. That is correct. Did I miss anybody's? No. Okay. And then B said, I learned I can retrain my brain to respond and not react. Every single day, your inhibition control is located in your prefrontal cortex. And that reacting is in the limbic system in the left and right amygdala, and it is implicit. And if you have created somatic markers for specific things, as soon as that external stimuli shows up, that marker is going to do its job, and you won't even know that it actually took place, because that's the somatic marker's job. You created it, encoded it, and now it will do it automatically. Okay. All right. I believe everybody has answered their first and second questions for today. That quick. Gotta love it. So brilliant and yet doggone thing. Okay. Tomorrow we will be talking more about the orbitofrontal cortex. I believe I will be talking about the lateral OFC versus the medial OFC. Or I might, because we're still having the ACC fresh, do what the ACC does together. So what's the difference? Because it seems like they might be doing similar things, but they are not. So let's see where overlap is, if there is overlap, and then go forward with that. So those are the one of two topics that we will be discussing tomorrow. I'm live every day at 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. God willing, higher power in the universe. I will be back tomorrow at 5:30 a.m. Your Neuro Rep will, both of them, level 3 and the Neuro Rep for this live, will be available at 6:55 by 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If anything resonated with you today and you are ready to simplify, what's up, Haywood? And you are ready to go from an untrained, dysregulated survival comforted existence, level 1 is available for you on Instagram. Turnaround Doctor is the actual username. Don't go over there trying to start. Message me and I will send you what you can do for your 7-day free trial to understand what the work is and start at that level of neuro-repidness. Lola said, Dr. Donna, I appreciate your live a lot. Tomorrow is the beginning day of the month of Ramadan, and this is not easy as people think. It's not just fasting and praying. It's your 74 principles of real leadership. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. I thought that was coming up. So yes, if you are here, I know you will not be drinking water, and I got that. Yes, ma'am. I agree to everything that you're saying. And we were talking about you on a TikTok live this morning because somebody said their 53 doesn't work, and I say, yeah, we have people in their 60s and 70s that are actually doing the work. And I mentioned you, not your name, but the work that you have been putting in for over a year now. You doing it. Yes, ma'am. So thank you all very much. I do value and appreciate your energy towards listening to this work that I have been putting in place for the last 12 years and actually doing the work for the people who are in level 1, 2, 3, and the 2 people that are in level 5. It's not easy, as Lola just said. It is sweat equity, neural sweat equity, but it's also worth it. Because all of these things for your entire life that have been eluding you, or you just think, this is just the way it is actually not true. It's neurologically untrue. And you get to use your 86 billion neurons and wire your brain to become high functioning so you can have the excellence that you deserve in your everyday life, every single day, day in and day out, until the day after you're no longer here. So thank you again. God willing, higher power in the universe. I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a brain-tastic day. Take care. Adios.